I'm Richard Lewis reporting for cadred.org, and here is a familiar face, someone from Western Wolves. It is of course Morrow, who's had a bit of an up and down tournament. We're going to talk to him about that right now. So, very much an up and down tournament. First day, things were going really well. You looked really good and you were winning some awesome games.
Yeah, the first day was really good for me. I managed to really bring out my best.
But then, of course, we went into the second day, and I mean, the game against Elfie, I know you said off camera you've already kind of blacked it from your memory. But what exactly happened? Because it looked like it was going well for you, and then I don't know, it just seemed to turn, and all of a sudden you'd lost a game that I think a lot of people felt with the momentum you had, you were going to win.
I'm not sure which game you're talking about.
Well, just the Elfie match, not the individual game, but the whole match as a whole.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think it was going pretty well, but like Elfie is kind of smart, and he kind of knew what I was doing before the games. I think I was a little bit too predictable, and well, like I said, he's smart, so he managed to take advantage of that and really punish me for it. So.
How do you cope with that sort of frustration? Because obviously you're an established player, you're an experienced player, capable of beating other good players, and then when you lose a game like that, where at one point you're in a commanding position, how do you deal with that on a personal level? I mean, is it frustrating, or can you be philosophical and take some positives from it?
For me, like, it doesn't matter too much how I lose a game. Like, I just know that I was playing good all along. Like, I get really frustrated when I'm just playing like badly. Then that's really frustrating. But I think I was overall playing pretty well, so I didn't get like completely mental broken by it. So.
Well, let's talk about you just and your personal development, how things have been going for you. I mean, are you happy with the progress you're currently making as a player? Do you feel you're starting to realise the talent that you have?
Yeah, for sure. It's been quite a while now that I've been playing Terran. It's very hard these days to switch races, of course. But I'm thinking that I'm improving a lot, and like players I'm beating are like Bling, for example. He came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, you improved a lot," and that means a lot to me. And I agree as well. I haven't really done something major just yet, but I think I'm getting a little bit closer all the time.
With being in Western Wolves as well, obviously there's a lot of Swedish talent around you, and they've got a reputation of really improving and generating players with that potential. Has that helped, or has that been almost like an extra pressure on you?
I think it's definitely helping with the motivation. Like if I was the best player around, maybe I would get spoiled and get laser or something. But now there's always like other players doing so much, like going to Korea and so forth. It's like pushing me to go along with them and really just try my best all the time.
Can you tell us about what it's like at Western Wolves? I've talked to sort of a lot. We've done quite a few interviews in the past, and he seems to be a very kind of focused individual. He knows what he wants. He knows how to get it. He's got a very clear plan. Do you guys in Western Wolves interact with each other? Are you part of each other's almost like training and development, or are you all kind of individual in the sense that you push yourselves rather than pushing each other?
I think it's more individual. Like, if someone wants to go to Korea or not, then we like completely support that and try our best to help, and like we talk with each other if anyone got any problem or so. But like as far as the plans go, like it's all individual. Like if you want to go to Korea, that's completely up to yourself.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, is it something you've ever given any thought to? Because, again, I've done so many interviews, and I hear from players. I've talked to Naniwar about being in Korea, and he said that it's a very lonely experience, but it's actually hugely beneficial for your game. Other people have said that it actually doesn't give you that much because the lifestyle's so wildly different, and it's a cultural thing that Koreans have. Not something you just get by living there for a while. So, do you feel a need to go to Korea if you want to get to that next level?
For me right now, it's definitely not something I have to do because I'm still improving so much right here in Europe. I'm nowhere near the best. So, but back when I moved to Korea, then I felt I was pretty much, there was nobody around that I could really practice with. Then I went to Korea, but after a few months, it was getting pretty lonely. I was the only foreigner living in the house. So
see, I didn't even realize you'd already been out there. So you had a lonely time out there and found it difficult.
Yeah, I was living in a socio house. They're really nice, and it was super good practice. But after a while, it's you can't really have any English discussions. Yeah. So it got kind of lonely like that. So I went back home. If I want to go back to Korea, I won't do it by myself. I will have to live in a house where at least a few people can speak a good amount of English.
In terms of just Western Wolves in general, and kind of when you come to these events, do you guys kind of travel together, stick together while you're here, or do you all have kind of individual friends within the scene that you associate with?
Well, at this event we've been hanging out all the time, but in DreamHack Stockholm and his DreamHack Summer, I was hanging mostly with all Swedish players. I don't see teammates being that much different. It's just I'm very good friends in general with most of the Swedish players. So those are the ones I hang out with the most.
What do you make of the Swedish scene at the moment? I think it's doing incredibly well. I think. This is just my opinion. Maybe it's different to you. I think things like the alliance coming together is going to kind of highlight just how strong Swedish StarCraft 2 is right now. And you've got some up and coming players. I mean, and guys like Show as well, who been around for a while, and then bam, they seem to hit a real good run of form lately. Is Sweden perhaps the strongest scene in Europe for StarCraft 2?
I think we have really many players who practice a lot, and there's always new players popping up. We had a few players who retired, like Cytoplasm, Naugrim, but then shortly after, new players came around, like Sandster and Hope, who are really good and just practicing hard. So I think the Swedish scene, ever since the dawn of StarCraft 2, we've been strong, and we're still going very strong.
What do you think you need to do now? I mean, you've had a tournament where, say, even though you've played well, you've come out of it a little bit disappointed. You don't like to lose. What is the plan for you to continue to improve? What are you going to do to achieve that?
I think what I'm doing right now is exactly what I need to be doing. Yeah, I'm just trying to play all of the tournaments that I possibly can. Just trying to get my name out there again, because that's very important as well. And I'm just practicing very much, ladder and custom games, and I'm talking to other Europeans how to improve and so forth. Right now, living in Europe is really good for me, and I feel I'm improving a lot.
Okay, well, now that you're out of the tournament, I always ask players who don't have to think about what they're going to do, who they think's going to win. I've had some very interesting answers so far. A lot of people going for Jaedong. I just interviewed a chap and he just said Lucifron. So, who do you think's going to win this tournament overall?
I thought prior to the tournament, and still, Hyun or Jaedong. Slightly more to Hyun.
Why is that?
I just think they're the best players here.
Next level stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing special. I think they're just better than the other players that are here.
Are there any players left in it, kind of dark horses? Anyone you think we should be paying attention to, someone that maybe we don't know about?
I just want to say, Elfie has a Protoss now in his next round, he could win that because his PvP, and Elfie is kind of famous for his PvP. So he could get to round of 4. Other than that, I don't think there will be too many upsets.
So just some final thoughts. Have you enjoyed this experience being here in DreamHack Valencia? I know it's been a mixed bag for you, so I won't labour the point. But I mean, overall, has the tournament been pleasant to attend, the venue, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's been pretty nice inside the venue. Outside in actual Spain, it's a little bit too hot for me, and all the restaurants are crap. But yeah, I'm having a good time, and I'm happy I went here.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the sun as well, brother. I'm another pale guy. Yeah, sun is not our friend. So yeah, I'll do the final thing then, and that is the guys at Mad Cat's always making sure that you mention them whenever I do interviews with your players. So I'll let you do some shout outs to your sponsors and anyone else that you think's appropriate.
Yeah, I was just gonna thank Western Wolf for sending me to all of these events. They've been really helpful. Shout out to their sponsors as well, Mad Cats especially.
Well, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you again, and I wish you all the best for the future. Oh, where will we see you next? I nearly forgot.
I don't know.
But you will. There is something in the pipeline. You're not going to disappear.
I'm not going to disappear. I don't know what the events are ahead. I'm just been playing events all the time right now, so yeah.
Okay, well, again, thanks a lot for taking the time to do this interview. To all the people out there at Cadbury.org, do stay tuned. We're going to have more interviews like this one from here at DreamHack Valencia 2013.